welcome to this new episode of Continuum Gaming, this time around in English, as you may already have noticed. And today I want to show you 3 different games again, which will be Cake Shop, Classic Bowling and City Racing 3D 2. My name is Jared, and as always I've got a couple of different things with me, which are for instance the Arc mouse here. I will be using the Foldable keyboard, which is this one. And in general I could use the Xbox Windows wireless controller, but there is no game in this mashup where I'm going to use this, so this one is staying at the side. Yeah, and as always I'm using my Lumia 950 XL in the middle here. I have a TV at which the Lumia 950 XL is connected with a USB-C cable and the display dock. So the display dock is going to be connected with the smartphone, and the display dock is connected with an HDMI cable with the TV, and like that I can show you all the different games and stuff like that I have here. And if you want to know more about that, please have a look at the corner up there. There are a couple of other videos where I'm going to show you more about that. And then let's start with the first game today. And the first game is called Cake Shop. It's more or less like some of the games we already saw, where you are going to, for instance, cook burgers or stuff like that. But in this case, you are really going to do a lot more than just clicking on parts or doing something like that. You're really going to cook the stuff the people are going to order here. And I want to show you how that is done, and here we go. In the end, it's a very nice game. Of course, it's meant for children or for adults, so you can go with any age groups there. And here is just a button to go to the menu, or better to say, to go to the settings, and there's not much in there to choose from, so you can just go and get, for instance, the audio off or on and the sound effects on or off. And that's more or less all you can do there. And after that, just press on the big strawberry-like button here. And if you do that, there's always this little animation in between when he's loading and stuff like that. Really pretty nicely done. And as you can see, there are different levels in this game. So it's not about doing it all over again and again and again, but you're going to go through different levels in this game. And each of the customers is going to ask you for a different thing, and you have to bake it then. And yeah, so let's have a look. First level is already done, but we can click on it again just to show you how everything is done. And in the first level he's going to give you a lot of different help too. So as you can see, this is a customer now, and you are in a bakery more or less, or a bake shop, and you have to produce this kind of cake for that. And as you can see, we have some kind of probably raspberry receipt or something here, so let's click on that. And if you do that, you're going to go to the bakery shop, so really to the workshop more or less, and try to bake that. And as you can see, you have different kind of things to work with. So for instance, you have four times the milk and stuff like that. And now just follow the little indicator there, what you have to do. In this case, we will have to go and open up an egg, for instance, so put that in the bowl here. And after that, we of course have to go with milk. And then sugar. You can wait for the indicator to show you what's going on, or you're just going to do everything by yourself. At the start, it's more or less just everything into the bowl, and then just mix it up. But first off, let's do that. Flour, of course, and a little bit of salt and a little bit of oil. And if you did that, now we are pretty much at the moment where we have to mix it up now. If you are playing this level for the first time, like we are not doing at the moment, you will of course have a different option here. So he's going to give you more of those indicators there and stuff like that. But in the end, what we are going to have to do now is we are going to mix this up a little. Do that really with your mouse or with your finger or whatever you are using. Otherwise it's not going to work. And there we are. Next loading screen. It's really a fast one, so it's not really something you have to wait for or something. So now we have to put that into one of the, I'm not really sure what that is called in English, sorry. More or less into one of those bakery forms or whatever that is called. And after that we are going to bake it in an oven, of course. So for that, just grab your part here, put it into the oven and hit on. And now you should really wait to such a position there and then get it out again. So it's more or less get the right timing there in this mini game and try that. If you are not sure what kind of cake you should bake at the moment, you can go to this and for instance get this like of icing and stuff like that. And as you can see, we have the red one with some white creamy parts in between. Then there is this little decoration and there is a raspberry. And we are going to try to get all of that done. So first off, just click on that, get that. Let's see what we need here. We don't need any kind of icing over it, I think. So we should have a look at the different parts we can create here. But I think there's nothing in here neither. So let's search for the raspberry in the parts here. There it is. So we got that. Somehow you can scale it, I think, but I didn't find out how till now. And now we need, I think, this or this. This is a little bit more troublesome. Let's see which color it is. I think it's the lower one. Okay, so let's put that on there too. And if you are finished, click on finished. In between there's sometimes this little kind of advertisement or stuff, but you don't have to watch it, just click it away. And as you can see, we got the first level now done. Yeah, and since we did everything right, we get 3 stars and stuff like that. So this is the way the game is played in the end. I'm going to click once away, and just to get rid of that black bar where the advertisement is, just click once on back, then it's going to be okay. And if we go in again, have a look at the next level more or less. And yeah, this is more or less what this game is all about. You're going to cook stuff with really a lot of steps in between. And there are going to be customers who are asking for stuff, and you are of course going to earn money. And if you now ask me why there are 2 money points, I'm not sure about that, but whatever. And yeah, this is more or less all I can say about this game. It's a really sweet one, so if you like that kind of casual sweet one games, which is really just for waiting or something, it's a nice little game. Try it out. Good iteration of that game principle. Okay, so let's have a look at the next game. The next game is a classic bowling game. So what you are going to do is of course go bowling, and that is more or less everything you're going to do here. It's in a pretty simple way, but it's fun to play, and I want to show it to you. So if you are into bowling, of course, otherwise you shouldn't try it out. For that I'm going to go to my all apps list, putting in classic bowling. Somehow I did something wrong. Let's see. Bowling classic, sorry, I spelled it wrong. So let's see what's going up here. You can of course rate the app or just choose not to. I'm going to not do it at the moment. And as you can see, here we are. It's a really simple game. What you are going to do is really you are going to bowl more or less. You can use your keyboard to control it or your mouse, depends on what you want to do. I'm going to use my keyboard in this case because I think it's a little bit easier somehow. There's sometimes a little bit of advertisement in between, you just can click it away. And after that just click on that button there. And now you see how this is all done. So in the end you have the option to move around with your player more or less. So from where you want to throw the ball. And there's going to be a power indicator you have to watch for, and you can for instance give it a kind of a spin in one of the directions, so let's see how this is done. And here you see it. It's really a simple game, aesthetic wise and stuff like that, but as you can see, you can now use, for instance, the keys on your keyboard, so the arrow keys, to move your player. With the space bar you are going to go to the next step. The next step is going to be power, so let's put him a little bit out of the middle in general, but not too much, so in between those two arrows is often the best case, or the best way to do it. As you can see, I press space now, and after pressing space we have the power indicator. In general, the higher the better, because then it's easier to do it, but as you may already, wow, that was a good one. As you may already have seen, it's quite fast at the end, so you have to be very cautious to get that, and now we can give it some kind of the spin effect. So let's see, in the end we want a little bit of it, but not too much. And there we go, got my strike. And in the end, after a while, it will settle down after at the top there. It depends a little bit on the physics then, how long it's going to take. In general, it's pretty easy to do and pretty nicely done here too. But as you can see, you can now go and try that again. The most, or the worst indicator on how to play it, yeah, that was not that good, because the power of my shot wasn't high enough for that kind of effect. So if you give it too much of a spin, then it might not work that well. But in the end, it's fine to play it like this. And now, of course, the whole the normal rules are more or less applied here. So if you, for instance, don't get with one shot one of the a strike and stuff like that, you of course can do it again. You have to try to really get that guy in the right position. In my case, with very, yeah, no thanks. Wasn't hard enough from the power, and the effect was much too much. So it's all about getting the right timing to really choose the right position here, and after that you should be fine. Yeah, and now you're going to play a whole game more or less, so you can play it each after each other, and that's more or less all that is to this. So you're not going to play against others or something, you are just playing by yourself in this classic bowling game. Yeah, and there's not much more to say about this. If you like bowling, it might be a good way to get rid of some time, more or less. And if you don't like bowling, don't try it out. It's not that kind of fun then. But in the end, a nice little game for everybody who likes bowling and who is a fan of that. So try it out. Okay, so let's go to our last contender in this mashup here. And the last one is City Racing 3D 2. And this is a pretty nice racing game with very, very nice cars and stuff like that. For that I'm going to turn around. There's one bummer with this game, which is that it doesn't support the Xbox One as well as controller, at least as far as I know. If it would be pretty much a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, because I really like it. But let's turn around and see how this is done. I'm going to use of course you can use the touch controls with this game. I'm going to use the keyboard for that in this case. And in the end, it's more or less controlled by a couple of different keys, which will be WASD in this case. W is for nitro injection and stuff like that, so pressing on that is going to of course make you faster and stuff like that. But let's see where I have it. There it is. Let's start it already. At the first start, it might take a little while to load, because he's downloading stuff for the game then. But in the end, if that is done, it's a pretty fast game. It has really nice graphics, good sound if you ask me, good sound and music. and yeah, a good contender against something like Asphalt or so. As you can see, this is more or less the garage you are in. Again, if you load this for the first time, you have to wait a couple of seconds or maybe a minute or something to download everything. But after that, it's pretty fast too. As you can see, this is the garage we are in. It has a good performance, and as you can see, this is the first car you are going to have after driving through the tutorial. So if you go to career, in this case, you will see that you have this first Corsica part where you get another car. We are going to try that again out, so I can show you what's going on there. And after that, you are going to have different, more or less, tasks to solve with your car and go through that. And yeah, first off, let's have a look at the options here. There is not too much to do here. So in the end, he is really doing a very fine job with performance-wise, even on a smartphone. It's really nicely done. You can only switch off motion blur, so if you don't like motion blur, just do this. If you like it, just keep it in. I'm going to keep it in for now, but I'm not sure if I like it myself. Don't know. If we are going to play it with, for instance, the keyboard, as we are going to do, it's not very important what you put in here. I would not use the gravity sensor in any case if you are going to use it with a mounted thing here, because this will work in the end too, and if you are, for instance, having it mounted not really parallel or something to the ground, then it might be a little bit of annoying because the car is going to drive in one direction or something. And because of that, just use one of the touch options, so touch 1 or touch 2, doesn't matter in the end if you're going to use it like this. And then you can, for instance, choose to use a guest login, like I am at the moment in, or you can choose at the start to go in with your Microsoft account, so do whatever you want there, and about is not that important. Yeah, and as you can see, here are a lot of different options on the screen at the moment. So for instance, you can go to career to play the first level, and I'm thinking of doing that. So let's try that first. I'm going to use a test drive. That is really just for getting used to everything. As you can see, we have different leagues more or less here, so you can go with amateur, professional, elite, master and legend. Which is of course more demanding the further you are going to the right. And in the end, we are going to play the first game here, just to show you what the graphics are like, what this game is all about, and so on and so forth. We get a Lotus Evora S to play this. Of course, you're not going to drive this car in your career at the start at least. But of course you can buy it with different rewards you are getting and stuff like that. It's like we all know it already. So it's all about driving around with your car and trying to win the different tournaments, of course. Okay, so I'm going to click on start. And here we are going to wait a little to get it loaded. But nothing too long again. So if you once you have really loaded once the levels or something, it's not that long to wait for. Pretty cool graphics as you see here. Really looking nicely. Oh, nice. Okay, and we are on Corsica in this case. And this is our car we are going to drive in this case. And there we go. All you are going to do is now steering your car with WASD. If you press the upper arrow more or less, you are going to use your nitro. Like you can see, there are different nitro parts on the track here. And if you play this game or this level for the first time, you're going to get different options. For instance, for driving to different parts, and of course how to drift in something. You're going to be presented with that. There you can see that is the nitro indicator up there. Oh. Okay, worked out. Pretty close to a crash, but in the training lab I'm pretty sure you can't really go down. And now just drive through this. As you can see, there is some kind of a motion blur going on here. If you don't like that, you can shut it down in the options. And now let's see how fast we can drive this. And you are actually not driving alone, but the other player who here is really bad. You have different options, as you can see, where to drive and try to find out which is the best way and stuff like that, for you at least. If you want to collision count, if you want to, here we are. Okay, so first training lab is done, and this is of course, we have won this of course. As you can see, Beringer was the other one who is still driving around here. Not really important for you. So let's go to the next part of this game. As you can see, you get some kind of a reward. You can watch an ad to get additional coins, or you just give up. Give up doesn't matter in any case, so you're not losing or something. You are just not watching the ad then. And I'm going to turn down a little bit the music. And as you can see, you can have a look at the different options or the different statistics of your drive here. So for instance, we have, of course, we have won this against our opponent. We have no collision. We did not get this because I had a collision there 5 times I think, and 3 times we had to get the secondary goal here. And we have to use drifting and stuff like that to get further on. And in the tutorial you are more or less presented with an option to drift. Drifting is just by going to one of the directions and then hitting the brake too. And of course we got a normal lucky chest and stuff like that for that we did this. After that you just press on next. In between there might be a little bit of advertisement sometimes, but it's really not too bad. And after that we are just going to go back to the menu. It's not the garage itself because there are different options there too, but the garage at the start of course, and here we are. And now you are going to have to go, for instance, to the garage to update your car, buy new stuff for it, have a look at the different properties of your car at the moment, and so you can, for instance, update different stuff here for instance, top speed and other things you want to do here. And after you drove a little bit, you of course can do, for instance, acceleration a little bit better. With that you can of course introduce a better nitro system and stuff like that. So just go in, try this out, and it's about steering and everything that the car is all about, more or less. At the lower part here you can see which kind of cars you can buy. Those are at the moment locked, but as you can see there are pretty nice cars in here. For instance, I don't know, let's have a look at that one. This is probably a BMW, yeah, and so on and so forth. So try one of those out if you want to. Of course, it's a pretty in the carrier mode in this case. You're not going to be able to get those very easily. So at the start you are going to drive a Volkswagen in this case. And here are different driving parts too. So if you go to another driving session here in another class more or less, there are different cars in there too. Then you can of course go and, for instance, use another color, painting and stuff like that. There is a lot of things you can really do here to make it your car. For instance, now it's a green car or whatever. And yeah, pretty nicely done with a lot of different options, as you may already have seen here. You can put on decals, for instance, for different things like numbers, letters, and so on and so forth. You can even put in your own image. So if you want, for instance, your own hat or something on the car, you can even get a photo out of your camera and put that in, and so on and so forth. Spoilers, wheels, and everything that you really can think of, more or less. And each and every of these different icons or parts has a different meaning to the driving of your car. So it's more or less like in... No, we want to. It's more or less like in a real world where you would have different options with those cars to go on and try it out. And yeah, then let's have a look at something different. If we're going out of the garage again, you see you get different things here. For instance, we have teams we can build up. So in the end, on the world, there are different teams which can be joined, and those teams are more or less ranked in a world ranking. And as you can see, there is this alias team, which is one of the best ones here available, with 7 members at the moment. And there are a couple of other ones, and you can join one of them, if you're allowed, of course, and try to compete with others on the whole world with your team or in a single player mode or whatever. And in the end, it's all about your performance in the career and in other tournaments. It's not about driving against them directly, I think, but it's a pretty nice thing to try to get up and get newer and better scores in this case. Here are challenges you can do. You can go into item to have a look at different things you can get additional to everything we already saw. It's really a very, very big one. Here you can see the ranking of your team or your own ranking over the world. So if you go to team ranking, in this case, for instance, you can see which is the best team, and of course see more if you want to. And there is focus ranking, where you can see, for instance, which country the players are from, and each and every player by itself to see how good he is performing. You can even have a look at the cars of the other players at this point here. So for instance, this one drives probably, I'm not really sure what this is, maybe a Megane or something, I'm not sure about it. But in the end, different cars, different things, like, from very different countries, as you can see. And just have a look at it. It's really fun to play, it's really fun to watch at. The driving is nicely done, the ranking and stuff like that is nicely done. It's not the most challenging driving or something, but it's all about upgrading your car and so on. And after a while, it's getting more challenging with driving too, and it's really a fun thing. Just try it out. And as you can see, there are really a lot of different things, like the rankings. Here's a record for a lap and stuff like that. So try to beat everything. That's what this game is all about. I really like it. There is not too much advertisement or something in here, so it really makes a lot of fun. Try it out, and you might like it too. Okay, so, and this is more or less the end of the episode. I hope you had fun with it again. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, of course. That really helps the channel. And of course, if you, for instance, would like to subscribe, do that down below. And if you have any kind of questions, want to talk about something, or I don't know, want to show us how good you are in this game, or you are searching for people who are playing a game or something like that too, and just type it into the commentary section down below. And yeah, I would say then thank you for watching, thank you for listening. If you didn't subscribe till now, do it now. And then I would say we will see us in the next episode in 1 week. So have a nice day, see you, bye bye, and thanks for watching.